Hello, everyone. It's a beautiful day for another tale here on Storyline English. I'm glad you're here. Imagine waking up and finding that the world is completely silent. No music, no melody, no rhythm. Just silence. No soft song in the morning, no beat in the street. No music in your phone, your car, or your heart. It feels strange, doesn't it? Maybe even a little sad. That is because music is not just sound. Music is part of who we are. It is part of every human story, in every part of the world, in every moment of history. And today, we are going to go on a journey together. A long, beautiful journey through time. We are going to discover where music began, how it grew, and how it became the songs we love today. So find a comfortable place, take a slow breath, and listen closely, because this is the story of music, and it is also your story as an English learner. Every word you hear today is a small step forward. Every moment of listening is a moment of learning. Welcome to Storyline English. Let us begin. Nobody knows the exact moment when music began. There was no one there to write it down. There was no recording, no video, and no note on paper. But scientists and historians believe that music is very, very old. Perhaps older than language itself. Perhaps older than cities, older than farming, older than almost everything we call civilization. The story of music begins in a time we call prehistory. This is the time before writing, before books, before history as we know it. And in that quiet, ancient world, early humans made sounds. Simple sounds. A hand clapping, a foot stomping on the ground, a voice humming in the dark. These were not just random noises. These were the first steps in a very long journey. Scientists have found musical instruments that are more than 40,000 years old. 40,000 years. That number is almost impossible to imagine. These instruments were made from bone and wood, simple flutes carved carefully by human hands. We do not know who made them. We do not know what songs they played, but we know this. Someone, long ago, felt something deep inside and decided to make music. And that feeling, that need to create sound and share it with others, has never stopped. It has only grown stronger. So we begin our story here, in the quiet darkness of ancient time, with one simple question. Why did music begin? And the answer is something you may already know in your heart. As time passed, people began to build cities. They built walls and temples and roads, and they brought music with them. In ancient Mesopotamia, which is the land we now call Iraq, music was part of daily life. It was played in temples, at celebrations, and during important ceremonies. Musicians were respected people. They had an important job, to connect the world of humans with the world of the gods. In ancient Egypt, music was everywhere too. Paintings on the walls of tombs show people playing harps, flutes, and drums. The Egyptians believed that music had a special power. It could heal the body. It could calm the mind. It could help the spirit travel to another world. In ancient China and India, music was studied carefully. Philosophers wrote about the rules of music, about how certain sounds could change the way a person feels. They said that music was not just entertainment, music was a form of wisdom. And in ancient Greece, a great thinker named Pythagoras discovered something beautiful. He found that music and mathematics are connected, that the distance between musical notes follows a pattern, a kind of hidden order in sound. This discovery changed how people understood music forever. All of these ancient cultures, separated by thousands of miles, all arrived at the same truth. Music is important. Music is meaningful. Music is human. And so the journey continued. After the great ancient civilizations, the world changed slowly. The Roman Empire fell. New kingdoms rose in Europe, and music changed too. In Europe, during a long period called the Middle Ages, music was kept alive inside churches and monasteries. Monks and priests sang songs called Gregorian chant. These were calm, slow, sacred melodies sung together by many voices. There were no instruments, just the human voice, rising and falling gently like a quiet river. The sound filled the stone walls of churches and created something almost magical. Outside the church, another kind of music was growing. Traveling musicians called troubadours moved from town to town across France and across Europe. They sang songs about love, about war, about adventure, and about the beauty of the world. These musicians were like the storytellers of their time. They carried news, emotions, and stories in their songs. People gathered to listen, and in listening, they felt less alone. Then came a very important development. People began to write music down. They invented a system of symbols on paper to show which notes to sing and when. This was a revolution, because now music did not have to disappear when the musicians stopped singing. It could be saved. It could travel. It could be shared with someone who was not even born yet. Can you imagine what that meant? The ability to write music down changed everything. It turned music from a moment into a memory. And that memory began to grow in beautiful new directions. By the time we reached the 1600s and 1700s, music had become something extraordinary. In Europe, great composers began to write music of incredible beauty and complexity. These were men like Johann Sebastian Bach, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, and Ludwig van Beethoven. Their names are still known today, 300 years later. That is how powerful their music was. Bach was a quiet, careful man who worked for the church. He wrote music that felt like architecture, like a great building made entirely of sound, with each piece perfectly placed. Mozart was a genius who began playing and writing music when he was just 4 years old. He traveled across Europe as a child, performing for kings and queens. He wrote more than 600 pieces of music in his short life. He died at only 35 years old. And Beethoven faced one of the greatest challenges a musician can face. He began to lose his hearing. Slowly, year by year, the world of sound grew quieter for him. And yet, even in near silence, he continued to write music. His most famous symphony, the Ninth, was written when he could barely hear at all. When it was performed for the first time, the audience applauded for a very long time. But Beethoven could not hear them. Someone gently turned him around so he could see the people clapping. And at that moment, something very human happened. the music did not need sound to matter. It had already traveled from his heart to theirs. And that is a lesson that music has always taught us. By the 1800s, music began to travel even faster. Ships crossed the Atlantic Ocean. People from Africa, Europe, and the Americas began to share their cultures, sometimes by choice and sometimes through terrible suffering. In the United States, enslaved African people brought their musical traditions with them. They sang songs of sadness, of hope, and of survival. These songs were full of deep feeling. They had a strong rhythm and a powerful emotion that was different from European classical music. From these songs grew something new, something called the blues. And from the blues grew jazz. Jazz was born in the city of New Orleans around the end of the 1800s and the beginning of the 1900s. It was music that felt alive. It moved. It changed. Musicians did not just play the notes on the page. They added their own ideas, their own feelings. This was called improvisation, and it made every performance unique. Jazz spread quickly across America and then across the world. It arrived in Paris, in London, in Buenos Aires. People who had never visited America fell in love with this music, because even if you did not understand the words, you could feel the emotion. You could feel the freedom inside the sound. This was something new. This was music that told the story of real life, with all its joy, its sadness, its difficulty, and its beauty. And something even bigger was just around the corner. The 1950s arrived, and with them came a new sound that changed the world. It was called rock and roll. It was loud, it was fast, it was full of energy, and it made young people feel something they had never felt before. One of the most famous names in this new world of music was Elvis Presley. He was a young man from Tennessee in the southern United States, and when he stood on stage and moved and sang, the audience went wild. People screamed, people cried, people could not stay still. But rock and roll was not just about one person, it was a movement. It reflected a whole generation of young people who wanted something new, something honest, something that spoke to their real lives. Then came the 1960s, and with them, a group from England that would change music forever. Their name was the Beatles. 4 young men from the city of Liverpool. They started by playing small concerts in small clubs, and then, quite suddenly, the whole world was listening. Their music was simple but beautiful. Their melodies were easy to remember. Their lyrics spoke about love, loneliness, hope, and change. They inspired millions of musicians around the world, and they showed that music could be more than entertainment. It could be a message. It could be a voice for an entire generation. After the Beatles, music grew in many directions. There was soul, funk, disco, reggae, hip-hop, electronic music, pop music, and so much more. Each new style told a new story. Each new artist brought a new voice. And the journey continued, faster and faster, into the modern world. And so, we arrive at today. In the world of the 21st century, music is everywhere. You carry it in your pocket. You stream it on your phone. You hear it in restaurants, in airports, in elevators, and in your own bedroom at midnight. There are more songs available to listen to today than at any other moment in human history. Millions and millions of songs, in hundreds of languages, from every corner of the world. Artists like Beyoncé, BTS, Shakira, Burna Boy, and Taylor Swift reach listeners from every country and every culture. And new artists appear every single day, making new sounds, telling new stories. The journey of music has never stopped. It has only grown bigger and richer and more diverse. But here is the beautiful truth at the heart of this long story. Music has always been the same thing. From the bone flute in a dark cave 40,000 years ago to the pop song playing on your phone right now, music has always been a way for human beings to say, "I feel something. I want to share it. I want you to understand." That is the oldest human message in the world. And you, as a listener and as an English learner, are part of this journey too. Every time you listen to a story in English, you are doing something very brave. You are stepping into a new language, a new world, a new way of thinking. And just like music, language grows when you practice it. It grows when you share it. It grows when you listen, again and again, with patience and curiosity. Thank you for spending this time with me today on Storyline English. If this story touched you in some way, please leave a comment below and tell me, what is your favorite kind of music and why? Your answer will teach all of us something new. And if you would like to continue this journey, there are many more stories waiting for you right here on this channel. Take care of yourself. Keep listening. Keep learning. And I will see you in the next story.